Henry Hathaway was an American film director and producer. He is best known as a director of westerns, especially starring Randolph Scott and John Wayne. He directed Gary Cooper in 7 films. Background: born Henry Leopold DeFines Hathaway in Sacramento, California, he was the son of an American actor and stage manager, Randolph Hathaway, and a Hungarian-born Belgian aristocrat, the Marquise Lily DeFines, who acted under the name Jean Hathaway. This branch of the DeFines family came to America in the 19th century on behalf of King Leopold I of Belgium and was part of the negotiations with the Belgian Prime Minister, Charles Rogier, to secure the 1862 treaty between Belgium and what was then known as the Sandwich Islands and is now called Hawaii. The title Marquis, commissioned by the King of the Belgians, comes from his grandfather Marquis Henry Leopold DeFines, who settled in San Francisco, California after failing to acquire the Sandwich Islands for his king. Hathaway served in the United States Army during World War I. Early career. In 1925, Hathaway began working in silent films as an assistant to notable directors such as Victor Fleming and Joseph von Sternberg and made the transition to sound with them. He was the assistant director to Fred Niblo in the 1925 version of Ben-Hur starring Francis X Bushman and Ramon Navarro. During the remainder of the 1920s, Hathaway learned his craft as an assistant, helping direct future stars such as Gary Cooper, Marlene Dietrich, Adolphe Menjou, Fay Wray, Walter Huston, Clara Bow, and Noah Beery. Maturity. The 1930s Henry Hathaway made his directorial debut with the Western film production Heritage of the Desert. Based on a Zane Grey novel, Hathaway gave Randolph Scott his first starring role in film that led to a lengthy career for Scott as a cowboy star. Hathaway, too, was a fan of stories of the settling of the American Western, would make a number of films involving the subject. He directed Gary Cooper in The Lives of a Bengal Lancer, which received 7 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture, and for which Hathaway won his only nomination for the Academy Award for directing. Bengal Lancer is among the 5 films he directed in the 1930s with Gary Cooper. The 5 Now and Forever, Peter Ibbotson, Lives of a Bengal Lancer, Souls at Sea, and The Real Glory offer a rich example of Hathaway's breadth as director and storyteller. He followed Bengal Lancers with Go West, Young Man, starring Mae West, based on Lawrence Riley's Broadway hit Personal Appearance. Once again, he used Randolph Scott in this film, but did not cast him as a cowboy. Film noir. During the 1940s, Hathaway began making films in a semi-documentary vein, often using the film noir style. These included The House on 92nd Street, for which he was nominated for a Best Director award by the New York Film Critics Circle, 13 Rue Madeline, The Dark Corner, Kiss of Death, and Call North Side 777, in which Hathaway presented one of the first on-screen uses of a fax machine. His film noir thriller Niagara starred Marilyn Monroe. In Hathaway's From Hell to Texas, Dennis Hopper attempted to assert himself artistically on the set, perhaps influenced by his recent experience with fellow actor James Dean's rebellious attitude on the sets of Rebel Without a Cause and Giant. Hopper forced Hathaway to shoot more than 80 takes of a scene before he acquiesced to Hathaway's demands. After the shoot, Hathaway reportedly told the young actor that his career in Hollywood was over. Hopper worked again with Hathaway on The Sons of Katie Elder and True Grit. Hopper later admitted he was wrong to have disrespected Hathaway as a youth and called him the finest director I have ever worked with. Later career and death. In the 1960s, Hathaway directed John Wayne in several films, including Circuit World. Wayne asked Hathaway to cast John Smith in the role of Steve McCabe in the film. Smith, from 1959 to 1963, had played the part of rancher Slim Sherman on NBC's Laramie series. According to Smith's internet biography, Hathaway developed an intense dislike for Smith and stopped him from landing choice roles thereafter in Hollywood. Hathaway also directed Wayne in his Oscar-winning performance in True Grit. Hathaway was one of 3 directors on the epic Cinerama Western How the West Was Won, directing the bulk of the film, including the river, prairie, and train robbery sequences. He directed Nevada Smith, a Western starring Steve McQueen that was extrapolated from a brief section of Harold Robbins's novel The Carpetbaggers. He may have stepped in for George Seaton in directing some winter outdoor scenes for the All-Star Airport, which stars Burt Lancaster and Dean Martin. Martin had been in Hathaway's Western films The Sons of Katie Elder with John Wayne and Five Card Stud with Robert Mitchum. Hathaway's 65th and final film was Hang Up. Hathaway died from a heart attack in 1985 in Hollywood and is interred at Holy Cross Cemetery in Culver City, California. His body of work earned him a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame at 1638 Vine Street. Filmography.